Hello friends, I welcome you all in my lecture Strip Lines Analysis and Design. The objectives of today's lecture is students should able to analyze and design straight lines. First of all, what is a strip line? Strip line is a one type of a transmission line. So what is a transmission line? Basically, it is a structure or it is a conducting line which is used to connect one component to the another component or one circuit to the another circuit. That is called as transmission line. Transmission lines are it is a conducting path used to connect one component to the another component in a circuit, or it is used to connect one circuit to the another circuit. Whenever we are able to deposit a transmission line on the PCB of a circuit itself, then that type of a transmission line is called as planar transmission line. The basic advantage of having this planar transmission line is the height of the structure is reduced, or the size of a structure is reduced, or structure becomes compact. There are various types of planar transmission lines available. So we will see some of them. First one is a microstrip line. So if you see this microstrip line, this is a conducting transmission line. It is supported over the ground. It is deposited over the dielectric material, and dielectric material is supported by a ground plane. Then another type of a transmission line is a strip line. So in the strip line, you can see this is a conducting path or a transmission line. It is immersed in between a dielectric substrate. So above and below this transmission line, there is a dielectric. It is supported above and below by a ground structure. So this is called as strip line. Another one is called as coplanar waveguide. So if you see this structure, it resembles a waveguide. So it is called as two waveguides coupled together. So this is called as coplanar waveguide structure. If it is supported by a ground, it is called as conductor backed coplanar waveguide. Then another type of a transmission line is a slot line. So here the one slot is in between the two conducting transmission lines. Slot is having the width S, and if it is supported by a ground plane, it is called as conductor backed slot line. So other than this, there are another some types like coplanar strips. So this is a strip type structure, and it is there are two strip lines running parallel to each other. So this is called as coplanar strips. If it is supported by a ground plane, it is called as conductor backed coplanar strips. So in today's lecture, we are going to study the strip line. In my next lectures, we are going to study about a microstrip lines and a coplanar lines. So first we'll study about a strip lines. So strip line, what is a strip line? If you see the structure of a strip line, it resembles a coaxial cable. The structure resembles a coaxial cable. So strip line is a planar version of a coaxial cable. So how it is in a planar version of a coaxial cable? If you see the structure of a strip line, then in the structure of a strip line, the conducting part or the conducting transmission line is at the center. It is surrounded by a dielectric, that is above and below the strip line or below this conducting line. There is a dielectric, and this dielectric is supported by a two ground plane. One is on the top and another one is the bottom. So it resembles a coaxial cable. Like in a coaxial cable, there is one center conductor. Center conductor is surrounded by a dielectric substrate. Then there is an outer conductor. So it is same as that of a coaxial cable. So strip line is also called as planar version of a coaxial cable. Coplanar strip line is a planar version of a twin leads. Okay. So first we'll see about it structure of the strip line. Then we will see the analysis of a strip line. Then we will see about a design of a strip line. So if you see the structure of the strip line, then at the center, there is a at the center at the center there is a conducting transmission line having the width W. So this conducting transmission line, it is having the width W, and the thickness of this transmission line or thickness of this conducting path, that will be very small. That is T. T is nearly tending to 0. T is nearly tending to 0. And if you see the relation in between this W and T, W is very, very greater than T. W is very, very greater than T. So there is a very thin conducting path is deposited above a dielectric material. So the total height of the dielectric material by this point is B by 2. So this that is very thin conducting path or conducting line is deposited above a dielectric material, and the dielectric constant of a material is very low. That is very low dielectric constant. It is having a very low dielectric constant, that is epsilon value is very, very small, very low dielectric constant. This dielectric material is having a very low dielectric constant, and it is having the height B is equal to 2, and above that dielectric material the very thin conducting path is deposited having the weight W. Thickness is very, very low, that is nearly tending to 0, and this dielectric material is supported by the ground. Then above this thin conducting path there is another layer of an dielectric material having the height equals to B by 2, having the height equals to B by 2, and above this dielectric material there will be the another one conducting layer, that is called as ground layer, that is called as ground layer. So we can say that strip line is is sandwiched in between the two ground planes and dielectric material. So it resembles a coaxial cable. It resembles a coaxial cable. So it can be deposited by using or it can be constructed by using a common circuit board. It can be constructed on a common circuit board. Similarly, it can be fabricated with the help of two circuit boards. If you have two circuit boards, okay, then one circuit board on the top, another circuit board on the bottom, and in between the two circuit board, we can deposit this strip line or we can design this strip line. So it can be fabricated with the two circuit boards and by using a homogeneous material, that is the dielectric material which is used below the strip line and above the strip line, above this conducting path and below this conducting path is the same. So it can be designed by using a homogeneous dielectric material. Now, as it is having as it is conducting path is immersed in between the dielectric material, and we will have two conductors. One conductor will be at a center, and one conductor on the top, and one conductor on the bottom. So this structure is perfect for a TEM mode propagation. It is perfect for a TEM mode propagation. So what is a TEM mode of propagation? That is TEM stands for transverse electromagnetic mode. Transverse electromagnetic mode. So it can carry the electric field and magnetic field which are perpendicular to each other. If you see the field structure of this TEM mode inside the strip line, then this center conductor resembles a strip line. This center conductor resembles a strip line. So whatever the electric field which is generated across the strip line, that will be indicated by a red color lines. Electric field is indicated by a red color line. If you see the direction of an electric field, it is perpendicular to the central conductor as well as it is perpendicular to this ground plane. It is perpendicular to this ground planes as well as this electric field is perpendicular to the central conductor, and it is concentrated near to the central conductor. It is concentrated near to the central conductor, but it is not ended at a central conductor. Some part of the electric fields are coming out of the central conductor, that is called as fringing field. This is called as fringing field. Some part is coming out of the central conductor, that is called as fringing fields. Okay, similarly, if you see the magnetic field, then magnetic field is indicated by blue color lines and is also concentrated. It is also concentrated near to the central conductor, and it is parallel to the that is conducting plates, central plate as well as this ground plane. So if you see the relation in between the electric field and magnetic field, they are perpendicular to each other. They are perpendicular to each other. So the mode of propagation of the signal in this strip line is the TM mode. So when this mode of propagation is a TM mode, then the analysis of a strip line is not a simple one. So TM mode fields can be obtained from an electrostatic analysis. For example, conformal mapping. So for this conformal mapping, we have to uh, satisfy some design criteria for a strip line. That is, the height of the dielectric material below this strip line or below this conducting path is b by 2, and above the conducting path is b by 2. Okay, so above this conducting path also the height of a dielectric material is b by 2. Then whatever the width of this dielectric material is indicated by W, and the thickness of this dielectric material is indicated by T, and T must be nearly equal to 0. T must be tending to 0. W must be greater than, very greater than T. Similarly, if you see the structure of the electric field and magnetic field around this conductor, then the electric field and magnetic fields are coming out of the boundary of this conductor, that we are calling it as a fringing field. Now it is very important to confine these fringing fields in between the strip line itself. So to confine this fringing field in the strip line itself, the width of a ground plane should be always greater than the width of a strip lines. Then how much it is greater than? It should be 5 times the width of the ground plane. It is indicated by A. A must be minimum greater than 5 times of the B. What is the B? B is the total height of a dielectric material. So A must be greater than, minimum A must be greater than 5 times of B. Or we can say that if this equation should get satisfied, that is A must be very greater than B, so that the whatever the fringing fields generated near to the conductor or fringing fields concentrated to the conductor, this fringing field should not come out of this strip line. It should be confined within the boundaries of a strip line. So this condition should be maintained before going for a conformal mapping. Now, first of all, whenever we are analyzing any line or any transmission line, the parameters which becomes very important in the analysis is the phase velocity of the signal, as well as that is phase constant of a signal, that is beta, then the characteristic impedance of a transmission line. These are the some parameters which need to be calculated whenever we are analyzing any line. Then the phase velocity of the signal propagating through this straight line, that can be indicated by Vp, and Vp is equal to 1 upon under root of mu naught epsilon r. Okay, where mu naught and epsilon naught are the permittivity and the permeability of the air as well as the dielectric material. Dielectric material, it is indicated as an epsilon r. Similarly, that is phase constant beta. Beta can be calculated as omega upon Vp. Okay, next. The characteristic impedance can be indicated as Z0 is equal to 1 upon under root of Lc. So to ease of the calculation, for the ease of the calculation, what we will do, we will multiply this Lc by C. We'll multiply it by C, under root of C, and divide it by under root of C. If you are multiplying and dividing it by under root of C, then your equation will become, that is under root of LC. Under root of L multiplied by under root of C, that will become under root of LC. Under root of LC multiplied by under root of C, that will become a C. Okay, so Z0 is equal to under root of LC upon C. What is the C? C is the capacitance per unit length of the transmission line, and L is the inductance per unit length of a transmission line. But calculation of a capacitance per unit length of a transmission line is not an easy task, is a very difficult task. Similarly, we know that Vp is equal to 1 upon under root of Lc. Vp is also written as 1 upon under root of Lc. So we can replace this by under root of LC by 1 upon Vp, and we can write this Z0 is equal to 1 upon under root of 1 upon Vp into C. As I told you, that is finding out the capacitance per unit length is very difficult. So instead of finding out an exact length or finding out the exact impedance, we can use some curve fitting methods. We can use some curve fitting methods. If you want to find out, then we have to go for an Laplace transformations and all. So instead of going in that details, we can use a curve fitting methods to find out the exact solution. So with the help of curve fitting methods, we can write Z0 is equal to neta naught upon under root upon 4 into under root of epsilon r. What is a neta? Neta is an intrinsic impedance of a free space, neta naught. Then epsilon r is a dielectric constant. Okay. And then B is the height of a dielectric, and WE. What is a WE? WE is an effective width. So what is this effective width? That is whenever we see the actual width of the conducting material, conducting path is W. But if you see the electric field and magnetic field distribution along with this W, then there are the effect like a fringing fields which are coming out. So because of this fringing field, the width appear to be larger one, and that width we are calling it as an effective width. Similarly, to match these fringing fields, we have to include some fringing terms, that is ln upon 4 divided by pi. So that term we have to include, multiply by b. So this ln upon 4 divided by pi is a 0.441. So that we have to note down. Then this parameter WE, that is the effective width, divided by B, that is equal to W upon B, that is the actual width divided by the height of a dielectric material, is equal to, there are two possible solutions for this, W upon B minus 0 for W by B ratio, it is greater than or equal to 0.35, or if W by B ratio is greater than is less than is greater than 0.1 and less than 0.35. So if it is like that, if these two conditions, out of these two conditions, which condition is suitable in our according to our designs, that we have to choose, and from that we have to choose this W by B minus 0 formula or W by B minus 0.35 minus W upon B square formula. So we have to choose this formula for WE by B to calculate this ratio, and then we have to calculate the characteristic impedance. Okay. Then if we want to, this is about an analysis of an transmission line, that in the analysis we have to calculate the phase velocity, then we have to calculate the phase constant, then we have to calculate a characteristic impedance. Now we have to go for a design of this strip line. So if we can say, in the design of a strip line, we need to calculate the width. Whenever we are designing any transmission line, calculation of a width is very important part. Otherwise, the length of a transmission line, you can choose anything, it doesn't matter. So whatever the important with respect to the impedance of a transmission line is the width. So by inverting the impedance equation, we can find out for the design equation for a transmission line. By inverting this Z0 equation, we can find out the W. So W by B, that is also having two equations, depends upon the impedance values, depends upon this multiplication factor under root of epsilon r multiplied by Z0. If this is less than or equal to 120 ohm, then W by B equals to X, and if it is greater than or equal to 120 ohm, then W by B is equal to 0.85 minus under root of 0.6 minus X. And what is the X? X is this factor, neta naught upon 4 in multiply by under root of epsilon r into Z naught minus ln by L natural logarithm of 4 divided by pi. So this is your X. So thus you can design a straight line. So once you design in a straight line, very important thing is a conductor loss. So conductor loss. So conductor loss is indicated by an alpha C. It is also having a two formulas depending upon your under root of epsilon r z0 value. So if it is less than or equal to 120, you have to follow this formula 2.7 into 10 raised to minus 3 4 rs epsilon r z0 upon neta naught b minus t into a, where a and b are the constant. They are having we can have to calculate it by using a different formula, where t is a thickness that is nearly equal to 0. Okay, similarly, when under root of epsilon r into z0 is greater than or equal to 120, we can have alpha c, that is a conductor loss is equal to 0.16 into rs upon z0 b into b. So what is this rs? Rs is equal to omega mu upon 2 sigma, where sigma is a conductor, that is conductivity. Then what is A? A is equal to 1 plus 2 W upon B minus T into 1 by pi into B plus T divided by B minus T into natural logarithm of a 2B minus T upon T, where B is equal to 1 plus B upon W upon 2 plus 0.70 plus 1 by 2 0.414 t upon w plus 1 upon 2 pi natural logarithm of 4 pi w by t. So these are the formulas for A and B. Like this we can calculate a conductor loss also for a strip line. In the next lecture we will see about a microstrip line. Thank you.